Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Drag Race recap here on reality TV RHAPups. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and we are here to discuss episode 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race season 15. It is a double snatch. We are going to be breaking everything down for you from the good, the bad, and the chaotic. One brief note is if our labeling was off, we may have gotten confused with our episodes. Episode 1 was actually episodes 1 and 2, like our premiere podcast couple covered episodes 1 and 2. So this one should be episode 4, which is the Snatch Game, and hopefully our podcast will be labeled appropriately. So for anyone who is confused about that, there you go. Let's jump right on in to everything. First, Beth is sick, so just as a programming note, she'll be out, but hopefully she feels better. But do not worry, a double snatch, double trouble. It is myself and the one, the only, Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you today?
Hello, everyone. I'm back and ready to talk about this
Yeah.
double stuffed episode. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot this week. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to break it down with you and all of you
Yes.
guys.
Whew, yes. So we have 2 snatch games to talk about, a runway, a very no walkthrough, nothing like that. So not a whole lot of workroom time, a little bit on Lucy, but really it's pretty much primarily the snatch. And I think that we can also talk a little bit about how the editing, how we're feeling about that, in terms of now having seen the second 1 hour episode after the show has cut back, going from 90 minutes now back down to an hour. We do have a few of Beth's thoughts, if I can speak properly. So we're going to go ahead and pepper those in there. And I want to just go ahead and kick things off with one of her thoughts because I want to get your feeling on this, Aman.
Mhm.
So Beth said she didn't feel like the payoff was worth having 2 snatch games. There were only 3 good performances and everyone else was either blah, annoying, or bad. Where do you come down on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always excited for Snatch Game because it's such the hallmark type of challenge for Drag Race. So a piece of me was very curious to see how they were going to be able to effectively show us, what is it, 14 queens giving
Mm-hmm.
us their best impersonation. But I mean, I feel like I probably agree a little bit with Beth here. I don't It was definitely better than last season, for sure.
Yeah.
So they won there, but I do feel like at times I was like, oh wait, so who was who again? Because we just watched this one and now it's 7 more, and then okay, so I know that Mistress was good. I know that Lucy was good. And then what else happened? Like it was a lot to handle at one time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just a lot. It was a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to remember. I actually didn't mind it all that much because I think with the editing, it felt a little bit better this week than it did last week. So I think with
Yeah.
cutting the walkthrough, for example, I think was a great place that they chose to save a lot of time. They did have some of the queens ask each other, "Oh, who are you going to play? Who are you going to do?" So at least we got an idea of who some people were going to do going into Snatch Game
Right.
proper.
But we
But I
didn't
think
get the proper walkthrough, did we?
well, we didn't get the proper walkthrough. So, I mean, obviously, like the cutting time is going to come with cutting, it's going to come with cutting these episodes. Just right, that's like how it works. You have
Yeah.
an hour, you have to go to now 40 minutes of actual runtime. Okay, sure. But I think that choice I'm actually okay with because I would have rather have seen the actual Snatch Game, which I think they did give enough time to.
Yeah,
That
they
being
did.
said, it was, as you mentioned, Amon, like hard to remember who people were because the way that the editing was so unbalanced. Like, even if we just talk about Snatch Game number 1, you really had Marsha as Tim Gunn, who got a lot of airtime, as well as Mistress, who was Rosie O'Donnell.
Mhm.
And then you had people like Robin Fierce, who got very little airtime, or even Malaysia as Saucy Santana, who, and I went back on my rewatch and I counted, had one answer. One answer. It was the
Really?
opening line,
Oh my
and then she had
gosh.
one answer. And you know why I think they gave her that one answer? Because Mistress makes a joke off of her answer. And I think that's why they included it. Like, it was more of a Mistress moment than
Mm.
it was necessarily a Malaysia
Yeah.
moment. So it felt like the contestants were put in these different categories of either you did really well, you got zero airtime, like not even just you did okay. It was like we're giving you very little airtime, or
Yeah.
you're totally flopping,
Yeah.
especially with regards to that last lip sync. So that or the last Snatch Game. So that was kind of interesting to see how they kind of like put people in buckets to very heavily tell you like This is who is doing
Exactly.
well. This is who you shouldn't even remember. They don't matter for the storyline because there's 14 queens and we can't keep everybody straight. And then here are the queens that are totally bombing, so you should expect to see them in the bottom. So it kind of felt like they were very heavy-handed with like where they were trying to get us as
Hmm.
viewers to like put people in these categories.
Yeah, I agree. Which is such a contrast from last week's episode because we really couldn't quite tell what was going on during the actual
Yeah.
filming of their infomercials until they got to the judging. So to go from that to like this heavy-handed edit is a little weird. I mean, I'm kind of glad that we got to see more queens this season do their snatch game because I mean, you always wonder like, oh, if so and so would have stayed, what would they have done? And then you end up wanting to see that person perform. So I'm glad that the majority of the queens got to show their skills. But at the same time, now it makes me wonder. I'm like, okay, so like, what is going to be like the halfway point this season? Like, what is going to
Mm.
be that check mark for these queens? Because snatch game is already gone, so it kind of feels
Mhm.
a little hollow now. So that'll be interesting to see where
Mm.
things go, and what replaces it towards later towards the end.
Yeah, I think that's a couple good points. Like the first being what is going to be like sort of the next most iconic challenge, the Rusical maybe. I think
Yeah,
is the
maybe the
only other
musical. Yeah.
one that
Mm-hmm.
I could think of because yeah, Snatch Game really sort of became like the staple from season 2 onwards of, this is
Mm-hmm.
what we do every season. It's iconic, everybody looks forward to it, it's going to come. And I think the second point that you made about how there's a lot of times we don't get to see a queen perform. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, show us what you got. You think you're going to
Mm-hmm.
be good on Snatch Game? Yeah, go for it. We're going to give you at, 14 queens left the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, because
And I
so many of
actually
these queens be going home and be like, I would have slayed snatch
exactly.
game. I would have done so good. I'm like, okay, all right, well,
Let's see
here you are.
it. I know. I actually kind of like it from that perspective that I'm okay with the way that they dedicated so much time to the actual Snatch Game itself. And then if people just weren't performing or weren't being funny, they were just like,
They
"We're
were just
not
edited
going to
out.
show
Yeah.
you." Yeah, exactly. Like you're not doing enough to be bad, like cringe bad, because we did have people obviously that fell under that category. But if you were just meh, then they're just not going to show you, so you're just not going to be remembered. I'm actually kind of okay with the way that they ended up like putting the whole thing together.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. I loved Lux's comment about Trinity not
Oh my
doing
god.
Amanda Lepore that well, and then the two of them were kind of going back and forth on Twitter these past couple days. That was very entertaining to see, I might add.
That's like if you're gonna throw shade like that, be prepared for whatever the
Yeah, honestly,
ramifications.
I was like, Lux was like at the end of it was trying to be like, oh, like I don't understand, like why are y'all trying to make this drama? I was like, girl,
You're the one who said that she
you
didn't do it.
started it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay. I so I guess like ultimately where I come down is I'm okay with it being at Final 14 because of the way that they put everything together. Although I
Yeah,
don't disagree with Beth's comment about there were only 3 good performances. I would
yeah,
kind of agree with that, or 3 ones that, like, definitely stood out, like, a very
yeah,
clear top 3. So, obviously, as a percentage of the people who did Snatch Game, it's a lower percentage of people doing well, but you still got to see people like, I could see maybe, a world where I don't know, they get sick of Marsha not wearing makeup, and they're like, "We're getting rid of her, and she doesn't get an opportunity to perform." So
yeah. I
I
could
ended
totally
up
see
being
that too. Yeah.
okay with it being at the final 14, which
Yeah,
sounds
and it
weird
gave
to
like a
say.
lot of variety too. Like the one
Yeah.
thing that I'm shocked about is that Sugar and Spice were not split up. I was very surprised that production just didn't do what they had to do and just make sure that they were in separate groups. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually thought that was part of I was like, "Oh, well, they're doing 2 so they can split up Sugar and Spice." But
Mhm.
then, the way they ended up splitting it was based on, "Oh, who's standing on what side of the room?" Which I
Mhm.
was like, "Well, they probably told them where to stand,
Right. I was like,
right?"
y'all can, yeah, like when they were
So
together, I was like, because I was the whole time when I was watching at the bar, I was like, my friend was like, "Oh my god, Sugar and Spice are gonna be in the same group." I was like, "No, they're not. No, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that.
no.
They're on two separate sides. They're fine. They're fine. They're fine." And then lo and behold, the teams get revealed, and I'm like, "Oh shit, they
Yeah.
are." Like,
They moved them.
I
And
thought that
what was
maybe they would be like doing like a twin thing, like maybe they were going to be like Mary
mm.
Kay and Ashley, or I don't know, like whatever the other twins are. Like I don't
Yeah, other famous
know.
twins. What was also weird was that they put them in the same group and then put them just one space away from each other. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Maybe like I just keep thinking like the twins either need to be right next to each other or completely separate. You can't put them like
Yeah.
one space apart. I don't know. It just all
Yeah.
seems weird. The
When I was
choices.
growing up with my twin, my mom and dad made sure that we were in opposite classes at all times. All times.
Oh
So,
gosh. Yeah, they're like, you must have your own identity. But for
mm-hmm.
them though, too, it was like that's kind of like the whole point is that they
Right.
like have similar vibes. So
I mean, not to bury the lead, but I'm kind of like I'm shocked that this happened so early. Like I really
yeah.
felt like they were going to last a little bit longer. Even I thought they were gonna like have a couple of days where they were supposed to go home, but they ended up being safe because they're twins, and then the community starts to hate them. Like, oh my god, send one of them
Hmm.
home already. I thought we were gonna have to do that dance, but no, like episode 4, and one of them is already gone. And I might be in the minority here, but I'm a little sad about it. Just a little bit. I'm a little touch. I'm a little sad. Maybe it's the twin in me. Maybe I'm like just feeling a
Oh.
little sentimental. Like, what if that were me and my sister? But like, I don't know. I'm just like, oh, I felt a little sad for her, for both of
I,
them.
it's interesting because I think the consensus actually is, or what I have seen, at least in terms of the online fan response, is kind of what you're feeling, which is that
Okay.
we all expected this to come. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from the moment they were cast, we were all saying, okay, they're going to lip sync against each other, they're going to lip sync against each other. But not like this, like not this
No.
fast, not episode 3 or,
Not like
4,
this.
right?
Like I feel like the producer in me is like you didn't raise the stakes high enough. Like
Mm,
it's only
mhm,
episode 4. I want to see them make it a little closer where they can both like taste the money, and
mhm,
I want a challenge for them to like really really fail at together. And while I feel like they didn't do the best snatch game, they certainly weren't like that bad. Like I feel like the reason that Spice got saved was because even though like her Miley Cyrus impression was like a little cuckoo, she gave it her all. Like she like went in the entire time. She was always in character, or like gave it full throttle. And with Sugar, it was just more like, uh, I'm not. I'm not getting the idea. It seems like a very messy impersonation. I don't get the clear image of Trisha Paytas, which
mhm.
I mean, Trisha Paytas doesn't really have a clear image of herself, so I guess but yeah, but yeah, I wanted this inevitable twink sync
Mm,
to have a bit more behind it, and it just didn't really feel that way for me.
mm. I almost kind of feel like from a production standpoint, if you're planning and scripting, the most optimal season is that, yeah, you give them a couple more episodes, as you mentioned, to sort of build those stakes. But when I look at this episode, I think it was justified putting the 2 in the bottom. Like
Hmm.
even and that's the other thing too, right? Is like when you're making a decision and this sort of talks we can talk about this in the context of last week as well, where if you have somebody who's like going for it and they're trying hard but it's flopping versus someone who's just doing sort of nothing,
Yeah.
which one do you judge more harshly or like who do you put in a sort of a lower category? Because what I would say from this is that probably obviously Aura, Spice, and Sugar from the second Snatch game were clearly being shown to just like flop.
Yep.
You could make an argument that Selena S titties, especially as soon as the pregnancy stuff started, like then you could put an argument for her being in the bottom. But ultimately, the
Yeah.
decision of having, Sugar and Spice, I think that nobody's really going to argue with that in terms of like unfair or fair judging, because especially Spice's Miley was just, it was, but like, oh my God. Now it's like, it was so bad that it was entertaining. Right?
I had to like turn to one of my friends that I was watching. I was like, I don't. Does Miley do that? Like, I don't
No.
remember that. And one of my friends was like, oh yeah, she kind of like used to laugh like that on Hannah Montana. I was like, okay, but I still feel like it's very. I think that what she's doing is not that. I don't know. And
Okay.
then like I like that she had the foresight to sort of like do the Hannah Montana thing and then do the
Hmm.
transition into the bangers era
Yeah.
2013 Miley. I really enjoyed that,
Hmm.
but I feel like there needs to be some sort of like, I don't know. And I know that I'm asking a lot and it's hard. It's Snatch Game. I don't want to be too critical, but I feel like if you're going to make that change, I feel like there needs to be some sort of like through line for it. I feel like you need to like slowly, give all like the really preppy Disney Channel, I'm Hannah Montana teen idol answers, and then be done with it, and then all of a sudden you just take the wig off, and then you're 2013 Miley twerking on Robin Thicke. Like, I needed a little
Mhm.
bit more of a transition for it to like really make it effective for me.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's start with Snatch Game 2. I think that's the one that is ruffling the most feathers in terms of the discussion. And
Hmm.
I agree. I think that the concept of doing a transformation, which we've seen other queens do and do at
Right.
least semi-successfully in the past, I think that's actually a good idea. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, you kind of have to wrap it into one of your answers or something, like try to figure out a way to, do that transition and make it work.
Hmm.
Here's the thing for me that I think really flopped. It wasn't necessarily that she was missing, the Miley look or the foam finger even or like that kind of stuff. For me, it was 100% the like accent and the noises. I don't know how to describe it, but I was
Yeah.
watching with a friend of mine and I was like, this is like Yogi Bear or
Yeah.
like the goofy laugh or like Lucy doing that also was just so funny in the confessionals. But the moment where Spice took the it was a sledgehammer and she
Hmm.
starts eating the sledgehammer and then she's like, we're country, but we're not like F our cousins country. I was like, wait, what is happening right now? Like, what even is this? It was so cringe, but also hilarious to watch at the same time, but for the wrong reasons.
It really devolved. It really devolved. I
Yeah.
was like, girl, where is it going? I think that this is like, maybe it's a little bit of TikTok syndrome. Maybe it's just doing these antics for wow factor and for quick views, for quick likes, for quick reactions, and it does not translate for like a fully realized performance. Like,
Mhm.
I get like you're licking the sledgehammer because in the
Wrecking
video
ball.
for Wrecking
Yeah.
Ball, she like licks the
Mhm.
sledgehammer at one point, but
Mhm.
that's like a snapshot. Like, you need, I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't a fully realized joke. It was very half baked. Like, oh, she licks it, so let me lick it. Like, no. And then
Then why
like
was she eating it?
why was she eating it? And then she used that as an excuse to like not having a real answer to the prompt. Like, it was
Mhm.
uh, like, it was funny as you stated, but like not in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, when Rue is like, okay, we're going to Miley because we have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's okay. All right.
That was so brutal. Yeah. I mean, and especially like as someone who listens to Miley Cyrus's music, but is not like a Miley stan, I would say in any way. Like I was cringing, and I can't imagine a Miley stan having to watch this, and that
Yeah,
must
poor
be
Miley, because you know
rough.
Miley loves Drag Race, and she will defend the
Mhm.
queens like no other. But like,
At least it was okay. Here's what I will say. That moment which props to the editors for staying on Spice doing this when she was hitting her head with the hammer and they kept it on her for so long.
for a long time, a
That is
long
like
time.
a long time. That is like a for the books cringe moment. Like that will be remembered. So at
Yeah.
least, credit to Spice for creating one of those moments.
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Oh god, I couldn't even figure out how to write down that noise in my notes. I was like, how do I write this down? I don't know. Oh god, so bad. Okay. Let's let's talk about her sister for a moment. Let's talk about Sugar doing Trisha Paytas. So, and this can sort of apply to Aura as Bretman Rock as well, which is part of
Mhm,
the issue with doing these types of influencers is Rue's not going to know who they are. Okay.
mhm,
So any type of like reference to that person, Rue's not going to get. So you can't just reference like things that they've done and expect people like Rue, who is the one person who really matters, to get it. So
mhm.
for example, like Sugar like did a reference to Trisha Paytas' song "I Love You, Jesus," which is funny because she's actually converted to Judaism since. So that's like kind of
Oh,
hilarious.
oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, because she married like Ethan Klein's wife's brother. It's like a whole thing. Anyway, so So, like, Rue's never going to get that reference, and it's not funny inherently by itself. So,
Right.
you sort of have to pick the things that make that person funny without having to know who they are, or even just make them into a character that's funny. Like, there's so many frenemies moments that go around, like on TikTok with Trisha being like, I don't need gravity. Like, before gravity was invented, like that kind of stuff that, like, you can just sort of laugh at outside of knowing who she is. And I think that
Right.
that's the pitfall of Sugar here. And I think you can apply the same to Aura as Bretman Rock.
Yeah, like you can Rue or the audience not necessarily knowing who you're impersonating is not the issue because we've seen people
Mm-hmm.
like Jinx Monsoon is the prime example of doing someone that's not really well known, but as long as you can like really translate that to the challenge, then you'll do fine. And you're right, like with these influencers, they're known for bite-size moments. Like yes, like Bretman and Trisha have been around for quite some time now, and yes, they have big personalities, but aside from that, like there really isn't like one iconic Trisha Paytas or Bretman Rock hallmark. There's nothing for you to like latch onto that's really going to make that much sense. So then you're forced to reference videos out of hundreds of videos that the two of them have been in, and it's like if you're not a fan, you're not going to really know. And even if you are a fan, because I'm kind of a fan of Bretman, even I was still like, okay, I get that video, but no, that's not really working. Like, so
Yeah.
it's really really hard. You have to be like a really 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 good impersonator, point blank period, to just choose anybody. And if you're not a great impersonator, you need to just go for someone that is well known and just hope that you can make a couple of things pop off with those jokes. That's kind
Mm-hmm.
of what you're forced to do.
I think that, and what, we see. So I think the perfect storm is Rue knows who you are, gets the references, and you've got jokes, right? That's sort of
Hmm.
like the trifecta. If Rue doesn't know who you are and isn't going to know the references, you have to at least have jokes.
Yeah.
And I think that that was something that was really rough. Like Sugar and Aura, I think, like, just they weren't cringe in the same way that Spice was, but there was really nothing there for you to laugh at.
Yeah.
So, like, where are the jokes?
Where are the
The
jokes?
jokes. Yes. Amethyst was also, let's just clear out that bottom row. Amethyst was also in the bottom row as Tan Mom, which the only thing I knew about Tan Mom was that she was the woman who was like accused of bringing her 5-year-old daughter to a tanning bed. That was all I
Oh,
knew about her.
that lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was all I knew. And I thought she did fine. I mean, because I didn't know anything about her and there were jokes there, so that sort of made it,
Hmm.
like, work, especially with that whole bottom row being a
You
little
know,
bit chaotic.
she definitely was the better of the bottoms for sure.
Yes.
um, and yeah, I think she did okay. I think there was definitely one or two lines that made RuPaul like actively
Mhm.
cackle, so I knew she was going to be safe.
I would,
From that.
yeah. I think I probably would have put her as the second best out of that second group, with
Hmm.
obviously Lucy being the top there.
Yeah, Lucy was on a roll. She really was.
Yeah, Lucy. Oh, well, and Amethyst quoting Latrice Royale, the level of professionalism.
Yeah,
Far too much.
far too
Far
much.
too much. Lucy ends up winning this whole challenge. And we had discussed this last week. Is she going to do Dolly, or does she have someone else she feels confident in?
Hmm.
Boy, she made exactly the correct call. And she is so good. She nailed this as Joan Rivers.
She really did. Although I will say, I really kind of wish that they had two winners. Like, I know that it's
Ah!
supposed to be just one competition, but I don't know. Like, somebody clearly did the best out of the other group. And I feel like having two winners would not have been like a bad decision for me. Justice for
Mm.
Mistress. Justice for Mistress.
Yes. Okay. We'll talk about that group when we get there. I
Hmm.
I think why Lucy may have been the front runner for this is because she was in a group of either people who didn't get that much content or were totally bombing, apart
Yeah.
from Amethyst. And Lucy was able, especially like the fact that she was Joan Rivers also allows her to just be such a bitch to everybody in the front
So
row.
cutting. Yep.
Exactly, so cutting. Like her answer about Miley's foam finger and just being like, "Well, I just wanted to make fun of the dumb bitch in the front." That's so perfect. It gives her
Mhm.
so much material to work with, which is why she not only had her own jokes, right, about like her having sex with her ex-husband, her parents encouraged her to take candy from strangers, like all of that was hilarious, but then also the banter element of being able to play off of the other people in the Snatch Game.
Yeah, that's always the icing on top for Snatch Game is when you can see the queens like getting a quick joke that was not obviously planned because
Mhm.
they're interacting in real time with their sisters. I mean, and that's ultimately what Snatch Game is. It's just it's all improv. So if you can show that you're improving, then hey. It was interesting because during the pit stop this episode had Bianca and Adora Delano, and they talked about like taking notes before their Snatch Game about like what they were going to say. And of course,
Mhm.
like in the back of my mind, I always assumed, oh yeah, I'm sure they probably have some stuff that's already planned. But it
Mhm.
kind of like just like so like fully materialized. I was like, oh, these queens probably. I mean, they've been working at these impersonations for a long time. They probably have some canned jokes that they think are probably going to be able to go with anything, any type of scenario,
Mhm.
any prompt. So the fact that like even through all of that, even if they are planning a lot of these jokes ahead of the time, when you can show that even through that in real time you can still improv, it's always a plus. And Lucy definitely she did that. She really did.
Mhm. I would say her like mayonnaise on an aspirin joke, for example, that was one that she
Yeah.
probably had, and she just had to figure out a way to work it in, right?
Hmm.
Because her answer
Yeah,
like
right.
made no sense. But it was like, okay, that's funny, work it
Yeah, it's
in.
like let me answer this question in a roundabout way and then land it with this job.
Right. At the same time, she then can also come in and make fun of even Bryce, like the actual
Hmm.
contestants, like rocket scientist my ass. That was also just so funny. And so if based on just watching it from a viewer at home, like she was the superstar from this group, and that probably, pushes her up into the winning position.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's close out Sasha and Jax from this group before we pop on over to the other group. I don't really have much to say about Sasha. She was Jan Crouch, the televangelist. She got, I think, maybe one or two answers. She just got a lot, like not a lot of content.
Yeah, I'm wondering like if the edit is more kind to Sasha than it should have been. I'm like, were you good, girl? Like, what's going on?
I had a similar thought, but then thinking about Snatch Game 1 where I think there were just so many purple people, like, like no edits,
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, I think they're just doing this sort of in general. She was probably fine, but like
Hmm.
maybe not like amazing. I don't know if it
Right.
was overly favorable to her. Jax also, I would say in this group got a very similar edit, didn't, maybe a couple answers, but I will say Jax's way of doing the Mona Lisa smile and just looking directly at the camera. Oh, and the tongue made me laugh so hard every time they cut to her. Like she was just chilling there, just staring, doing the Mona Lisa smile at the camera.
It was so good.
It
I
was
love
so
when
funny.
people do like stuff like that for Snatch Game, whether it be like something like the Mona Lisa or like
Yeah.
Sophia the Robot or the Virgin Mary, like characters that you wouldn't think. I love that shit. It's such a good time.
Oh, it's so good. I don't know how she like her facial expression, she just had it down and instead of like engaging with the audience, or like, with the other people there, that just straightforward into the camera. I don't know why it sent me every time. I was like, I know you're not doing much, but what you're doing for me is working.
It
Oh
really
boy.
did.
Okay, let's jump on over to the first Snatch Game that happened. And oh, I have this written down, the like crotch holes for the pit crew. Like when they were sitting, the just cut out so that you could see the bulge. I was like, this
Why?
is new. This
Why are the gays like this? I don't understand. Why are we so raunchy? Can we please just not one time? But I
uh,
also loved it.
but also don't stop. That just yeah, that was just something that was like never addressed, but like very obvious, obviously, when you're watching of just like, oh, some bulges. Okay, I'm good.
It's like a Wendy Williams show when she does like the little shoe cam. It's
Hmm.
like bulge cam.
Yes. Yeah, very much. Okay, yeah, so Bruno and Calix were the pit crew, or I guess Calix was just an actor in the Daytona Wind. I'm not sure if he's like a pit crew regular member, and then Bryce and Asif for the second one, just if anybody
Mhm.
wants to follow them on Instagram. Where do you want to start? How about kick things off with Mistress Aman, because you were saying that she could deserve a win here as well.
Yeah. I think her voice could have done a little work. It didn't I was hearing a lot more mistress in the voice than I was uh Rosie O'Donnell,
Mhm.
but I think like just like the mannerisms and the hair and the banter back and forth with Rue and just like I felt like she really I was like that's Rosie. That's Rosie. Like I really I don't know. I'm like such a fan of Mistress. I'm like really pulling for her this season and I felt like she deserved a little shine. I did.
I could see a world where if she is in the second group and you put Lucy in the first group, that Mistress ends up getting the win. Because I think
Mm.
Rosie O'Donnell is also that perfect character to like just completely trash that front row in the
Yes.
second group. Like she would have, I think, eaten that up. And you totally hit on that point of like the banter that she had with both the queens that were there as well as with Rue. I think she really nailed it. That like front spot, that's a good
Like
spot to
right next
be.
to Rue. Yeah.
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 You're right there. I think I think what really did her in, which is not necessarily a bad thing in general, because we've seen queens have this work for them where they're not necessarily doing the strongest impression, with Mistress doing, kind of her own voice, also mixed with a little Abby Lee Miller with the whole tax evasion thing
Yeah.
in there. But it was still funny, right? It was entertaining. It was funny. You still got that it was Rosie, even if there were elements mixed in that weren't necessarily 100% Rosie O'Donnell.
Hmm.
And she just ate it up. She just looked so confident and just was not afraid to jump in anywhere. And I think just really did an outstanding
Yeah,
job.
she was prepared. She
Yes.
knew what she was going to do. She had a clear cut path, and she took it. It was a good job.
Marsha is the other queen who, ends up in the top three. It's Marsha, Mistress, and Lucy. And Marsha. It was the first when she popped out as Tim Gunn. I was like, oh, she picked a character that doesn't have a lot of makeup. I mean, it's stage makeup, right? Of like an older man makeup. But it was like, oh, okay, she's really taken this makeup critique to heart. That made me laugh. But then once I kind of got past that, I think she also did a fantastic job. Her interactions with the other girls were good. It did feel, maybe slightly more like, oh, I have my canned like Tim Gunn lines, but she made it work. Designers make it work. Marsha made it work. And I'm very happy that she ended up in a top placement spot. Aman is muted. He's trying to talk, which doesn't make for the best podcasting, but okay. Yeah, you're good.
I was saying, yeah, like I agree. I think that she did a really good job. I wasn't very familiar with Tim Gunn, but like she had one of those performances that made me want to go back and be like, okay, like let me see what he's all about. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm seeing it. I get it. I see it. This whole like makeup thing with her, I'm like, what is going on? Because Marsha was like sort of like one of those queens for me that like you see them in the interviews and in the promo material. I'm like, oh my god, that's the one to watch. And I still kind of feel like that, but like the fact that she virtually doesn't, it's very plain. It's very plain all the time. And maybe that's like maybe that's like the thing because it's just
Mhm.
a Brady Bunch thing. Maybe that's just sort of like, just plain Jane type of feel. But like, come on, girl, you're on Drag Race. Like, you can't get away with that for much longer. And if that's going to be your edit this entire season where you get sent home at the final five because Michelle's like the makeup, like, come on, get it together, sis. Like, come on. Let's not do this all season.
The thing is like she paints beautifully,
Right.
and this was talked about not in the Untucked from this week, but I think from last week, where it was like, yeah, just do that, but do more,
More.
which I know sounds like that, but like with her contouring, for example, go deeper, like pack that on more, because especially when you're on the lights on the runway and you're on TV, your makeup has to be darker than you
You're
would ever
washed
do in
out.
person. Yeah, exactly. And you need to be able to see it through all of the lights and through the TV camera and everything like that. So you really need to like pack on more. I am nervous for her because she also gets this critique on the runway about your looks not really drag enough, but she already has all the looks brought. So even if she does
Yeah.
try to up her makeup game, she's still stuck with the same amount of looks. And I just like, I saw
Yeah.
somebody compare her a little bit to like Jan, the queen who's just like never going to be appreciated. I was
See,
like,
I
oh
was wondering. Oh, I guess this episode sort of answered that question for me because I was wondering if Lucy was going to take that spot. I was like,
mhm.
is Lucy going to be the one? Because she had this whole edit, after the other episode where she was in the bottom and she came back. I was like, I'm going to prove the judges wrong. And I really feel like I didn't do that bad. I'm kind of shocked that I was in the bottom. Yeah. So I was wondering if she was going to be the Jan of the season, but then she went ahead and won. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe not. But I still wonder if there's room for that storyline to continue where she's just one of those queens that is never satisfied with being safe, always has to be in the top or winning. Because if that's the case, that's a tough road to follow on Drag Race, because Ru is going to do what Ru's going to do. So
I'm hoping that for Lucy, these couple episodes are going to sort of help to give her, credit enough that
and the
will
confidence, and
the confidence and just the memorability enough to sort of push her past that. Marsha is, I think, that queen who's really in that spot, and I'm nervous for her because, as I mentioned, like, I think her performance was good. She's been in the top. I'd have to go back and look at her track record, but I think she did well last week as well, or the week before. And like, for example, the one line that I really liked, which she played with Ru. So Ru was like interacting with her, was when she said the devil's in the raw edge, when she was talking about Selena's sleeves. And Ru goes, "Oh, don't you mean the devil's in the details?" Like, no, like, devil's in the raw edge. Look at those sleeves. So Ru's like engaging with her. I don't know. I have this like sinking feeling in my stomach that she's just not gonna like get credit per se, and it's gonna sort of always be looked down on just because of the whole makeup thing.
Especially like what you're saying, like with her looks. Like, I mean, there's not much that they can do now. They already packed. It is what it is. Like, and I want, like, do they show them the looks, right? They show production what they're going to wear for each one, because everything has to get cleared, right?
Well, I know, yeah. So I mean, we've had situations before where like certain looks hadn't been cleared, like Manila's, her period pad look, I think, didn't end up getting cleared. So yeah, I would imagine that they have to go through some sort of like standards.
So it's like extra shady on that end, because it's like, Ru, you already know what they're going to do. So
well, maybe they're like, just don't do anything offensive, or what they deem offensive. But we're not going to critique like the quality of the looks.
That's it's like, girl, if you want to.
I guess
they send that one final email like, congratulations, you are going to be on this season of Drag Race. If there are any last minute things that you want to switch, now would be the time to do so.
Any looks, particularly for the beautiful nightmares category, feel free, which we will get to the runway. Let's close out group 1 for the Snatch game. So we talked about Marsha, and Mistress. The other queen I think that stood out, maybe not for the best reasons, was Selena. So Selena has titties doing the Virgin Mary, which was funny because we got the foreshadowing of her in the confessionals with the lights going out, being like, oh, I don't know if God approves of this.
That was hilarious. Yeah, so another risky one. I mean, not only because it's a religious figure, but just, there isn't, it's kind of like a blank canvas. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. I liked what she was trying to do. I like the fact that like the Virgin Mary is actually a whore, and she doesn't know who she had sex with. She doesn't know where this baby, she didn't even know she was pregnant. Like, I enjoy all of that. I think that it just wasn't focused enough. I think it was just a little all over the place, and a little fine tuning would have done her well. But I do think that her personality really lends a lot of credit to the performance, because she's just so loud and really demanding attention. Like the whole, like, oh my God, I'm going into labor part, where she was actively taking attention away from the other queens, not even allowing Ru to like move on. Maybe a bit too much, but at the same time, it was very much like, wait, no, I need to have this moment. I've thought about this. I've done this. Like, I'm going to have the baby now. Okay. All right. Can you guys touch my stomach? Okay. Let's do it. Like, it was very manic, but still entertaining at some level.
That's a good way to describe it, as manic, because I agree with you. I think that the concept and the idea of what she was trying to do, I think, is actually pretty funny. Like the idea of the Virgin Mary, not so virginal, sort of being this like secret hoe. I love that idea. But because of Selena's personality and the sort of like yelling element, like there's not the subtlety to like, oh, is she or is she not? It's just like, yes, she is. And she's having a baby. And now we're going through a pregnancy thing, which was very...
Who was it next to her? Was it Jade that was next to her? Or not
Okay, is Robin was next
Robin,
to
not
her?
Jade. Robin, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look at me comparing the. Oh my god. And yeah, I just love the fact that like Robin was just like so aghast, like legitimately, like I don't even think I don't think she broke character. Like, what am I supposed to do now, girl? Like, do you want me
Yeah.
to like what's going on?
What do I do with you? Like, what are you doing? I don't know what's going on right now. Which was definitely the feeling. Like, I don't know what's going on right now. I think Selena started really strong. I think
Yeah,
after the sort of giving birth thing, it really started to become OTT and kind of fell apart a little bit. So I
yeah.
think lucky for her, there were the three queens in the second group that were a little bit more cringe than she was. But again, I liked her idea.
I think that's something that you like save for the end. Like
Mm.
I feel like at that point in time she wanted to kind of like have her moment and like really see this is your moment. Have it. Like she was having one of those moments. But I feel like it would have been funnier if when RuPaul's like, oh, well, that's the end of our time. And she's like, wait. I think
Mhm.
that would have lent it that would
Mm.
have been a little funnier to me.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea. Yeah. Especially because then once you kind of do that peak moment of
What
I'm
else
giving
is there?
birth, yeah, where
Yeah.
do you go from there? Which
Hmm.
I think is also, part of the reason why it probably wasn't as strong as it could have been.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's just jump over to Robin, who is sitting next to Selena, which also very little to no content. She had an answer about ham hocks, her vagina, keeping it tight, and otherwise she was so boring and not even
Hmm.
really in it at all. So again, not that negative content, just no content.
Yeah, not really familiar with the housewife. It was a housewife, right? Yeah,
Yes, it was Karen Huger. I also am
Karen.
not familiar with the Housewife franchise.
I know of Karen. She's the one that wore that braided wig, but other than that, yeah, not really. Yeah, and she didn't really look too much like her. That was also the thing that like kind of took me out of it. I was like, you're. I mean, I can see what you were trying to do with that paint, but like, mm-mm. So
Mhm.
yeah, just a really the housewives, that's another one that can be really, really tricky. You either really need to go for someone that is like really, really big. And Karen to me is not, she's not that big. Like you either need to go for Nene or you need to
Mhm.
go for Candy or you
Mhm.
need to go for Portia. Like one of those. Not the
Mhm.
other ones, nah. It's a risky choice.
Or again, even if you're going to do that person and you don't it doesn't even necessarily have to be an impression. You just have to like go for it and you have to have
Hmm.
the jokes, right? Where
Yeah.
are the jokes? So I think
Where
that
are they?
was missing from her. So the other three in the group, Anitra, who was Georgina Ramsey, Gordon Ramsay's sister,
Hmm.
seemed to amuse Rue. And so I think that she didn't it was like again, that's another situation where it's just a made up character. So you can kind of do whatever you want. I think she had
Hmm.
a few funny lines when they were talking about Candy Muse's edible underwear, the unsightful place for food. That line made me laugh, but
Yeah,
otherwise
that
I
was
just don't
funny.
have a lot of comments for Anitra. I mean, her
Yeah.
accent thing, I guess, was pretty funny because it was terrible, which is great.
Yeah, she was all right. She was serviceable. It was
Yeah,
good.
she was all right.
Mhm,
Lux was Amanda Lepore, which we sort of talked about a little bit at the beginning of
mhm,
the podcast with the whole Trinity
mhm.
situation.
So who did
Um,
it better, Lux or Trinity?
well, we don't really get a lot of content for Lux, so it's really
That's
tough
true.
to know. We got her answer with the I'm answering with my other pair of lips. We got the I don't know much about the work of Candy Muse, but my hair looks fabulous or something like that.
And that's why Trinity said, I have like 9 wins to my name and you're still waiting on one. So
Also for the video version of the podcast, Amon's video is frozen, so I'm just gonna go
oh, is it?
tell
Oh my
you that.
god. Oh my god, I'm
Yes.
just having so
I don't
many technical
I
difficulties. Not the testicle
Not
difficulties.
the testicle difficulty. Okay, yeah, you look great. And the last person that we have to talk about is Malaysia Babydoll Fox, who did Saucy Santana, who again got her opening line and then one answer, which was the Michelle Visage question of like, what does she do on the left side of the street? And she said, walk him like a dog. But again, I think that got included because Mistress got a response to that, which said, I can't keep up with the trends. I thought we were walking the duck.
Yeah.
So again, Malaysia got nothing in this episode, like
Yeah.
nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
So,
and we'll talk about it later, but her runway as well was kind of just like,
oh yeah.
so yeah.
I'm a little
These
nervous for
That's the
her.
one thing that's I think is the real drawback for having this many queens in Snatch Game. It's like they really, like you said before, they really had to show us who was good, who was
Mhm.
bad, and if you were in between, then you're not really going to get much. So,
Mhm.
and which kind of defeats the purpose of the Snatch Game because you want to see all of them really, have a moment. So,
I get that. I think I also feel like I could see it going one of both ways. I think the benefit of this is that if you don't do anything that's entertaining, either in a cringe way or a good way, I don't want to see it. Like, don't waste my time with just
mhm,
being not doing nothing. But we
mhm.
actually don't know that. So we're making the assumption that Malaysia did nothing as Saucy Santana, but we don't because we just didn't we saw
We don't know
nothing, right?
100% for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't know what her other answers were
And
if
I'm
they
sure
were like
Malaysia's
super
probably like, "Oh
cringe.
my god, I can't believe they cut that one part out where I was funny there.
Mm.
Like, why didn't they show that?" Like, I'm sure there's probably those moments too.
Right,
So,
exactly. I think she had the look down, but again, we just didn't get the
she really did.
anything.
She was giving Saucy Santana all the way. I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. Yes, she nailed it, in terms of
It's
the
just so
look.
crazy that Drag Race really is like, I mean, when it first started, like the celebrities for Snatch Game were like, big A-list
Mm.
stars, and now by season 15, it's still A-list stars here and there, but it's more like influencers now and up and coming, music artists. Like people, like I feel like people get introduced to people through Snatch Game a lot more frequently now than they maybe would have in the past. It's very interesting.
Yeah, there's so much more media now. There's so many more people that you can pull from, especially when
Hmm.
and we also now we've seen it so many times. We've seen so many barriers open, like especially with doing men on the show, right? We've now seen
Yeah.
that sort of open up and we've seen fake okay, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but like fake people like the Virgin Mary
Yeah.
or or like not like actual like celebrity humans like the Mona Lisa and people like that. So I think it's really opening up who people are choosing,
Hmm.
as you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh boy. Okay. We got to talk about the runway. So the theme was Beautiful Nightmare,
Hmm.
which I think a lot of people took to mean spider. So we got a lot of
Hmm.
spiders. And I'm just going to go ahead and include some of Beth's thoughts here, especially as a
Oh
big
yeah. Hmm.
Dragula fan. She says that Dragula fans like me were not impressed with the runway except
Yeah.
for Sasha and Lux. She also said she did not like any of the Black Widow runways. Aman, walk us through your thoughts on this category.
Yeah, I mean, Beautiful Nightmare. It's I think it's a pretty broad category that you can choose from. All types of like horror themes that you can think of, but make it beautiful, make it sexy, drag it out, make it drag. Um, I was underwhelmed by quite a few of the looks. I just felt like some of them focused a little bit too much on the beauty. Like Malaysia was one
Mhm.
of them. I felt like it's like, oh, I'm going to be an extremely beautiful zombie or whatever the hell she was. Widow, I don't know what she was, but yeah, I just felt like some of the outfits were just like not enough in either direction. So
Yeah, let me pull up Malaysia's. So this was her look. Do. She did I don't yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like kind of spooky makeup in the sense that I think she's got like white contacts in and it's, very
Hmm.
dark. But this
Hmm.
the actual look itself, um I don't get Beautiful Nightmare at all with the actual gown. I mean, it's
This
gorgeous.
looks
I love
it
the
looks
feathers, but
it's giving something like a dress that she just wanted to wear, and she was
yes.
like, I'm just gonna put on some spooky ghostly makeup and call it a day. And then the wig as well is sort of like Maleficent a little bit. But
Yes.
that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of the queens sort of suffered from that. Beth does mention that Lux is one of the queens that she thought did a good job. And I would agree with that. She has the sort of like corpse who sunk to the bottom of the lake because she has a cinder block, tied to her leg. Like this
Hmm.
still looks good, but she's going completely for the horror here of being drowned. And I think that that looks absolutely fantastic
I
for
hope she didn't
Lux.
scratch that stage up with that cinder block. They're gonna send her a bill.
I think they said it was foam when she was dragging it away.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it's acting with the
I
weight.
love how well, if it was foam, they should did a good job because it really felt like it was heavy. It looked like it was. On the pit stop with Bianca and Adore, like Bianca was like, "Where the fuck did she get that? Like, where did you pack that?" And I was like, that's a good ass question. Like, how the hell did she pack that in there? But
Oh, I think about that a lot, especially for like the props for the talent show.
yeah,
The whole thing was Spice. I was like, where'd she get a casket?
yeah.
Did she like bring that on the plane? Or did they have to provide it for her?
It's like that one mini challenge back in season 7 where they had to like do something like type of like dance off, and not Nina, Jasmine Masters like takes out like a loaf of bread, and Rue's like, "Where did you get that?"
Yeah. Yeah, did Aja have to like bring her cube from somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The other look, and I'm trying to get a picture or a better close up of the makeup. The other look that Beth brings up is Sasha Colby's look. So she has the sort of like witchy, yeah, here you can sort of see it here. In terms of like the makeup with the dark teeth. With the look, it's sort of
Hmm.
spider web-ish, but maybe
Yeah.
more like vines kind of coming down her body. But I love the way that she integrated the makeup into this. So that was the other look that Beth mentioned. Feels like she felt like it really fulfilled the actual beautiful nightmares category.
Yeah, it definitely, she looks gorgeous, and the entire bar erupted in applause when she came out that night. One small haterish thing to say, don't come for me, guys. I mean, it's kind of similar to her entrance look. So I was like, oh, okay. Kind of saw it already. I'm being a little critical, I know, but like I just can't help it. I'm like automatically critical when there's like a fan favorite darling. I'm like, okay, can we let's talk real talk for a second. So but obviously, I mean, it fits the criteria. She looks
Mhm.
fucking stunning. It's a great fucking look. It's just that we kind of saw it already, but that's okay.
Yeah. I think if it's one of those things that maybe if it had showed up later, you wouldn't have remembered so much, but I totally get what you're saying of like, oh, this is very similar.
Hmm.
But still, I mean, I think for the category especially,
But yeah,
and especially when
exactly.
so many people didn't do like the best, that it,
Exactly. Yeah.
it ends up
She's
like looking
not
great.
getting the brunt of my ire at all. Like I'm not gonna die on that
Yeah.
hill for that. Yeah.
A few other things I do want to. Oh my god, I'm not. Okay. So this is so Jax was the next one I had pulled up just because I really love her. The prosthetic that she went for. Not
Hmm.
like the hugest fan of the look itself, but happy that she went for sort of like the snake nose
Hmm.
prosthetic kind of thing. I think that looked very cool, at least from afar. I didn't get to see the details, but at
Yeah,
least
like
from afar, I think it looked good.
at first I was like I didn't quite understand what was going on with her face, and then when she explained it and she got a little closer, I was like, oh, okay, I see
Mhm.
it. So I think that maybe if anything, it just she needed to touch up the makeup around
Mhm.
the nose a bit more just to accentuate it just a tad. Um, but that's probably the best part of the look. And
Yeah.
the garment, clothing, whatever you want to call it, was kind of, I don't know. It just
Yeah. It's
wasn't giving. It was more of like a fashion piece to me, more so than like beautiful. I mean, like they're all fashion pieces, but it felt more like artistic than it should have been like
scary.
nightmarish. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Beautiful nightmare. And then I think in terms of Sugar and Spice again had sort of like the doll look, but I think that, with their bad Snatch Game performances, they really were gonna have to knock it out of the park. And I just don't think that they necessarily did that here. It felt
Yeah.
again sort of like these were looks that you had that then you sort of put on contacts and a little bit of spooky doll makeup to sort of try to make it fit the
Yeah.
criteria.
Yeah. I just no. I feel like it's one of those looks too, like where it would have been more effective if they were gonna come out together, but obviously that's not gonna happen because then they could have had like a shining moment. It's a shining, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, with the twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people like were very, very perturbed about the fact that they always wear the same thing. And I was like going to bat for them being an apologist, like, well, no, one of them was Belle and the other was Ariel. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Like
it's a different. Oh man, yeah.
uh,
I which actually now is Spice going like if Sugar left stuff, you just doubled your wardrobe. That's
hey,
pretty cool. You have so much to choose from now.
what's mine is yours, baby.
And you won't have that like issue of, oh, we're doing the same look. Now you're totally
Hmm.
unique because you're
It's
the only
all
one on the runway.
mine. It's all mine. It would be so funny, like if Sugar left all that stuff, and then Spice ended up using some of it, and then Sugar was like sending all the pictures of like, well, this would have been my look if Spice hadn't stolen it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how Spice fares on her own now with Sugar
I
being
know.
gone.
I'm sad. I'm
No,
sad. Like I just
I
didn't.
know.
We knew it was gonna happen, but I don't know. Like I'm just like imagining what the both of them are going through at the moment. Like they're gonna be fine. It's just a TV show, but like, you like they're really really close and like
Yeah.
always doing things, everything together. Like I mean, I remember that part of my life, like being with my twin Imani and I did
Aw.
everything together. Everything we did, it was together. And I don't know, like to like be away from home and to be
Mhm.
alone with all the rest of these catty bitches. Like
Mhm.
I feel for Spice a little bit. So
Aw, the twin empathy, the twin
yeah, it's
empathy.
really coming out. It's jumping out, girls. It's jumping.
Aw, that's so cute. Well, I mean, we can talk about their final moments on stage together with the lip
Yeah.
sync. I just did want to briefly pull up Aura's vertebra, like exposed vertebrae
This
look.
saved her.
Yeah, I
This saved
agree. I
her.
agree. I mean, I think apart from the fact that they probably would have been excited to put the twins next to each other from a production standpoint, I
Oh
do
yeah,
think
that
that
too.
this helped
Yeah.
pull her out of that because as we mentioned with some of the other queens, it was like, oh, this is a gown you had that then you sort of like spooked up or like added a cage to or something like that. This clearly, obviously, this is an exposed vertebrae.
Made
she's
that
not
way.
gonna
Yeah.
she's she's not gonna be like, yeah, this is just a gown I had for like normal pageant stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe she just stuck it on there, but still, I think this really helped her keep her out of the bottom
For
two.
sure. And I feel like it's so timely too, because like I feel like what I'm noticing in like fashion trends right now is that like open back dresses are like becoming a
Mhm.
thing again. So like
Mhm.
very timely, and the acting as well like really pulled it off. Like I legitimately felt like she was like in pain. Like so, good job,
Yeah.
Aura.
Yes, and really important for her that she had that look because she does end up in the bottom 3. We kind of already talked about this when we discussed everybody, but Sugar and Spice and Aura were in the bottom with Marsha, Mistress, and Lucy in the top, with Lucy being the ultimate winner here. So that brings us to the lip sync. So first of all, what did you think about the song choice? So it was Pat Benatar's "You Better Run."
I mean, I'm not like mad about it, but I don't know. I kind of wanted something a little more current for the twins because they represent like such a the newer queens of drag coming from TikTok, social media queens, yada yada yada. So I felt like the song really wasn't the best choice for them. I feel like a Miley Cyrus song probably would have been a lot better just to like sort of like keep the theme going for that night.
I
Um
don't know if they wanted to do. They were like nervous. They're like,
it's
we're not
like
gonna do
Miley's
Miley
been
like
through enough. Yeah. Let's not do it again.
yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean I think that it was fine. I do agree with you. It didn't really fit them, which made it a little bit awkward at the beginning, but then when they break into their sort of choreographed dance routine, which like how? They
Yeah. Liana and I have not watched Untucked yet, so we can't really talk
Yes.
about it, but I'm very interested to watch to see if there's any like or do we get to see them planning it during the Untucked like or is this something that they just already had pre-planned because they were like, okay, we're on Drag Race, so they're gonna put us in the bottom eventually. So what are we gonna do? Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, it did give very much like, oh, we're gonna like try to make this choreography work for this song. And Sugar, oh my gosh, Sugar.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, and then Sugar kept falling, like with the whole shoe
Oh my
issue
god.
thing, which was so awkward because it was like, oh, they're doing the choreograph thing, but then it's not really working because she's like falling down, like when they go to the back of the runway and then like run forward.
It was giving very much what's her face from last season when she did that reveal. I was like, oh my god, like
Oh, the like fall down reveal.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was a kind of a cute, like, last tribute to them to have them
Yeah.
be,
I laughed. I
choreographed.
was enjoying it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was messy as fuck, but I thought it was funny. And I honestly really did think that there might have been grounds for a double sachet. I was like, oh, this is not the cutest, but obviously no, they're gonna send one home just to get, the journey of the left twin. So
I definitely had that same feeling of like, oh wait, are we gonna do either a double? I was like, well, you can't justify a double save, so like
no.
that's not gonna happen. So are you just gonna go ahead and send them both home? So I'm ultimately happy that we're gonna be able to see one of them in the competition without the other, and we'll have to
Mhm.
see what Spice is able to do without Sugar. But yeah, it was cute. Like even when Sugar got sent home and then just left, and Spice was
I
like,
know.
no, come do your closing line. Aw.
I'm
I feel for
sad.
them. Yeah. My probably overall favorite moment of the lip sync, I will say, was Carson in the lip sync. Like, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a moment where he was just like looking around, like before it ended, where he was just sort of like looking at Rue, like,
Yeah.
what is going on? And then at the very end, his like awkward clap thing.
Yeah, he didn't like know which way to take it. It's like,
Yeah. He
and I
was
think
like,
Rue was kind of having a good time with it. Like it's just like, okay, like this is what you guys are
yeah.
gonna give.
Of course, it was like, am I supposed to be enjoying this or
Yeah.
not? I don't know. I don't know how to react to this. Are we enjoying this? No, collectively, group. Like, what's our opinion? So that
I
gif.
thought it was funny. I thought it was a good time. I thought it was clearly like a canned joke for them. But at the same time, it's also like, okay, you guys, like, you're on Drag Race. Yes, you're gimmick casting. Yes, but
Yeah.
you're still on the show. Like, kind of give this a little bit more credence and respect. It did come off just a tad like, oh, we're not gonna take this seriously. Whatever. It's like, well, you should, because like it's still a
Hmm.
competition and people really, really care a lot about being here. So give it a bit more zhuzh, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm trying to pull up that Carson moment just because it made me laugh so much. It was, I think it was when, yeah, okay. I think I have it here. Hopefully we're not going to get flagged for some type of
Disclaimer: we don't own this
issue.
material. Copyright. Da, 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 da.
Copyright. Oh shit, that's probably too much of a clip. There's like very specific rules. Oh wait, here's this is one of Carson's reactions of just like, what?
He's like, y'all didn't already cut down my hours by adding TS medicine, and this is what I'm coming back to. Like, what the?
This is what you had me watch. Oh my gosh. Anyway, okay. What else do we have to say? One more thought from Beth is happy the girls were able to convince the twins to stay if one goes home. I think that probably happened in Untucked. But by the way, because the freaking WeHo show was on, I didn't watch Untucked, and then I couldn't find it after the fact. So that's why I didn't watch it. And they don't show it at the gay bar that Aman watches. And also the WeHo show was on, which by the way, I've never seen a community be so like, no, F this show.
And Todrick's response to it, like trying to like go the Mean Girls route, comparing himself to Regina George. I'm just like, Todrick, it's not working anymore. It's not working. People are like, they're tired of you. It's not a community thing. It's you. Like, and I hate to dogpile and like, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. Someone just needs to sit him down and explain to him verbatim, like what, like, it's you. Like, and not everyone can be saying the same thing about you, and we're all crazy. Like, it's you.
Exactly. Like when you continue to have the same problems, maybe it's you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's you.
Like, come on, girl.
Derek Barry had a really funny tweet. I'm trying to find it. Okay, so I think Derek was trying to promote the WeHo show, and she tweeted, remember that the world doesn't know. Okay, remember when watching at Real Friends MTV that the world doesn't know that these guys aren't all friends or don't live in WeHo. It's opening doors for the real friends of any city to be produced. This is gay representation in living rooms around the world on MTV. Celebrate it. Which is funny because Derek is essentially saying, like, yes, it's queer content. Support queer content because it makes more queer content. At the same time, calling out the show, being
But
like,
it's
they're
fake.
not really friends. They're not really friends, and they don't live in WeHo.
It's like, just enjoy the show, even though it's not centered in reality.
Yeah, even though it's like not real, because like maybe we will get other. It's like, okay, I think
It's
we
like, are
can.
you trying to get on the next season?
Yeah, the real friends of Vegas, wherever
Vegas.
Derek is right now. Yeah,
I mean, I might watch that one, to be honest.
if it was real, That's the thing is that like we now have the ability to be a little bit more picky and choosy about queer content. It's not just like, oh, gays, yes, let's watch it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we now have more choice. Let's support the things that we actually think are genuine and represent,
And
what
gays
we want to watch.
in like the whole like you're in like it's in your living rooms. I'm like, that doesn't really hold the same amount of weight anymore. Like TV is
Yeah.
not what it used to be. This isn't the 50s where we all came home and sat in front of, like, that's not happening anymore. Like we have so many options, as you said. We consume TV differently. It's just it's not the point that she thinks that it is.
Exactly. Okay, next week we are going to have the redecorating challenge. So we'll see how that pans out.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I really remember is I can't remember if this was from I think it must have been from All Stars with Mo Hart and
Was it Monet?
Monet with the which way do you paint? Which way does it go, girl?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember from a makeover challenge or like a redecorating
Club
challenge. So
96.
yes, Club 96. I guess that one as well. So we will do that and cover all of the redecoration next week with the one twin. Sad for Aman, but Spice will carry on and continue the competition. I think that, we talked about Sugar probably being the one to go home first. I think that Spice definitely has a runway. If she can sort of recover from losing her twin, I think that she could go at least a little bit deeper into the competition.
Yeah, you could tell from the edit that they were setting it up. They were like, get your claps in, girl, but she's gonna be gone soon. So oh, I'm rooting for Spice. It did. I mean, the production worked on me because like now I'm like, oh, she's losing her sister. No, she has to win now. Like I am kind of like a little bit more Team Spice than I was before seeing the episode. So you got me, girl.
I got you, gals. Okay, Aman, where can people find you on social media? What else do you have going on?
You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin. Not much going on right now except for Drag Race. But I'll be back in these streets soon enough. Big Brother Canada is right around the corner, so we'll be back in the swing of things very shortly.
Yes, absolutely. And you can find me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. I'm going to be a guest on the 90 Day Fiancé podcast talking about the last part of the 4-part tell-all because for some reason we needed 4 parts. So I will be there talking about the final end of the season of 90 Days. So you can check me out over there. Or also it's on Reality TV RHAPups as well. If you want to leave your star ratings and reviews for us, you can do so at robhasawebsite.com/drag race. Feedback is absolutely appreciated. Thank you, Scott, and the whole RHAP team behind the scenes for all your help. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.